Why it's never too late to make a new friend. Have you ever found yourself sitting by the window, watching the world go by, and wondering when friendship started feeling harder? Not impossible. Just quieter. Less frequent. Like the phone doesn't ring as often. Like invitations stopped coming, and when they do, you're not sure if you'll really fit in anymore. If that sounds familiar, I want to tell you something that might just change the way you see this chapter of your life. It's never too late. Never too late to smile at someone new. To strike up a conversation. To laugh over coffee. To feel seen, heard, and understood again. Friendship isn't reserved for the young, it's something we can rediscover at any stage, even now. And I know, it can feel intimidating. Maybe you've lost old friends to distance, to time, to illness. Maybe the people you used to lean on aren't here anymore. Or maybe, somewhere along the way, you stopped reaching out, not because you didn't want to, but because life got in the way. But here's the truth, humans are wired for connection. Whether we're 20 or 80, we thrive when we're seen. When someone remembers our name. When someone asks how we're doing and really wants to hear the answer. The ache for companionship never truly goes away, we just learn to quiet it. But today, we're going to talk about how to bring it back to life. Gently, naturally, and without feeling like you're starting from scratch. One of the first things that can help is simply showing up. Not to a big party or some loud event, but to places where connection tends to grow. It could be a morning walk at the same time every day. A chair yoga class at the community center. Even the library or a local garden. When you show up regularly, people begin to recognize you. Familiarity builds trust. And trust? That's the foundation of friendship. Take Mr. Leonard down the street. Retired, lives alone, quiet guy. But every Tuesday, rain or shine, he brings a little birdseed to the park. People started noticing. Someone asked about the birds. Then another person joined him. Now? It's become a little ritual, 3, sometimes 5 people gathering for a slow stroll and a chat. It didn't take much. Just showing up. Same time, same place, same simple gesture. The next thing that really matters is being open, not just with your schedule, but with your heart. That doesn't mean spilling your whole life story to a stranger, but it does mean making room for small talk. Yes, small talk. That thing we sometimes brush off as pointless. But in truth, it's the bridge between being strangers and being friends. Let's say you're in the waiting room at the doctor's office. You glance over and see someone about your age flipping through a magazine. You smile. They smile back. You mention the weather. They chuckle. That's all it takes. You never know, maybe they've been waiting for someone to break the ice, just like you. It's amazing how many opportunities we miss simply because we tell ourselves they don't want to be bothered, or they've probably already got their own friends. But here's the twist, they might be thinking the exact same thing about you. It's not about being the most charming person in the room. It's about being real. Honest. A little vulnerable. And willing to take the first step, even if your voice shakes a little when you say hello. Now, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked, your story. Your lived experience. Your decades of wisdom. That's a gift. And when you share even a piece of it, it creates a space where others feel safe to share theirs too. I met a woman named Carol at a community potluck. She just moved into the area. Didn't know anyone. But instead of keeping to herself, she brought her mother's famous peach cobbler and set it down on the table with a handwritten sign that said, "Family recipe, ask me about it." People did. Conversation started. She didn't wait to be invited in, she brought a piece of herself to the table, and people came. It's about showing people who you are, not perfectly, not all at once, but piece by piece. Through kindness. Through curiosity. Through shared laughter, or even shared silence. And here's the most important thing to remember, friendship in this season of life looks different, and that's okay. It might not be about constant texting or daily visits. It might be about sitting together quietly, checking in once a week, sharing a hobby, a walk, or just a pot of tea. Depth matters more than frequency. Quality over quantity. And sometimes, one meaningful friendship is worth more than 100 casual ones. Let's pause here for a moment and breathe that in. You haven't missed your chance. You haven't run out of time. There are people, real, warm, wonderful people, who haven't met you yet but would be so lucky if they did. Sometimes, the fear of rejection keeps us from trying. Maybe you've made an effort before and felt brushed off. Maybe you opened up to someone, only to feel like you weren't truly seen. That hurts. And when it happens more than once, it's tempting to say, what's the point? But here's what I'd like you to consider: not every unopened door is locked. Some just need a gentle knock, and a little patience. We often expect friendship to come quickly, like it did when we were younger. Back then, all it took was sitting next to someone in class or working the same job. Shared routines brought people together naturally. But now, with more independence, and sometimes more solitude, we have to be a little more intentional. A little braver. And that doesn't mean forcing anything. It means making small gestures consistently, with kindness and no strings attached. A kind word to the cashier who always remembers your name. A wave to the neighbor you pass every morning. An offer to help someone carry a bag, or a compliment on their garden. These little things create moments of warmth, and over time, those moments build into something more. There's a woman I know named Alma. She volunteers at the local animal shelter, once a week. Not because she's trying to make friends, but because she loves animals. And you know what happened? She found a friend in another volunteer, a man named George, who lost his wife a few years back. They didn't start with deep conversations. Just shared smiles over the dogs. Then, a joke here, a story there. Now, they go to the diner together after every shift. It all started with a shared interest and a gentle rhythm of showing up. You don't have to be loud or outgoing to make friends. You don't have to entertain or impress. You just have to be present. And consistent. Think of it like planting seeds. Some won't grow. That's okay. But some will, and the roots they grow might surprise you. Another important thing to keep in mind is that friendship doesn't always have to look like what it did in the past. When we think friend, we often picture someone our age, someone we have everything in common with. But sometimes the most meaningful connections come from the most unexpected places, different backgrounds, different generations, even different languages. One of the most heartwarming friendships I've seen was between a retired nurse and a college student. They met at a book club. Completely different lives. But they both loved mystery novels. And that little shared passion led to weekly chats, book swaps, even sharing stories about life, love, and regrets. The age gap didn't matter. What mattered was that they listened to each other. They made each other feel seen. So maybe the friend you're looking for isn't someone who looks like you or thinks like you. Maybe it's someone who reminds you of who you used to be. Or someone who helps you see the world in a fresh way. Keep your heart open to that possibility. And while we're talking about heart, let's not forget the value of listening. Real listening. The kind where you're not just waiting for your turn to speak, but you're actually hearing what someone else is saying, and what they're not saying, too. That kind of attention is rare, and it's precious. And when you offer it to someone, they feel it. Deeply. Think about the last time someone really listened to you, not because they had to, but because they cared. Didn't it feel like a gift? Now imagine being that gift for someone else. That's how friendships are built. Quietly. Slowly. Through empathy, presence, and trust. It also helps to let go of the idea that every conversation has to go somewhere. Some people will smile and walk away. Some might say a quick hello and be done. That's not a failure, that's just life. And with each small connection, you're practicing. You're strengthening your social muscles. You're reminding yourself that connection is still possible, and that you're still worthy of it. One woman told me she made a smile list. Every morning, she'd write down the names of 3 people she'd try to smile at that day. No expectations. Just a gentle nudge to stay open. And over time, one of those people became a friend. Then another. Not because she chased them down, but because she showed up with warmth and courage, even on the days she didn't feel like it. There's power in simplicity. A cup of tea. A short walk. A phone call to check in. These little acts are like bridges between islands. And even if it feels like you're starting from a lonely place, each small step brings the shore a little closer. You don't need to fix everything overnight. You don't need a dozen friends to feel whole. But you do deserve connection. You deserve someone who remembers your birthday. Who asks how. You know, one of the most beautiful things about being our age is this: we've lived. We've felt loss, and we've found joy again. We've seen the world change, and somehow, we've adapted. That kind of resilience? It's a quiet kind of wisdom. And it's something the world still needs, maybe now more than ever. Friendship, at this stage in life, isn't about popularity. It's about presence. It's not about having people to impress. It's about having someone to sit with on a slow afternoon, someone to laugh with when a memory catches you off guard. It's about feeling safe in the silence and valued in the noise. And sometimes, the first person you need to extend a hand to is yourself. Because you are still worth knowing. You are still interesting, funny, thoughtful, wise. You still have stories to tell. You still matter. So take yourself on a little outing. Sign up for that class. Join that walking group. Say yes to that neighbor's invitation. Go to the community event, even if it's just for half an hour. You don't have to stay long. You don't have to say much. But when you show up, you remind yourself and the world that you're still in it. That you're still open to connection. One man I met, James, he spent years after retirement in solitude. Not by choice, really, but because he wasn't sure where he fit anymore. Then one day, he saw a flyer for a local storytelling night at the library. And on a whim, he went. He didn't speak that night. He just listened. But something stirred in him. So he went again. And again. Eventually, he signed up to share a story. And when he did, someone came up to him afterward, someone who'd lived through something similar. They started talking. Now they meet every Thursday for lunch. That's what showing up can do. It doesn't guarantee friendship. But it opens the door. And sometimes, just cracking that door is all it takes for something meaningful to walk in. And here's something else to keep in mind: friendships don't always start with deep conversation. Sometimes they begin with shared silence. A look of understanding. A helping hand. A familiar face. Don't underestimate the quiet connections. They're often the strongest. It's okay if it takes time. It's okay if you feel awkward at first. That's not a sign to stop, it's a sign that you're stretching. Growing. Reaching out of the comfort zone that kept you safe, but also a little too quiet. And even if your body moves a little slower these days, your spirit is still capable of so much love. So much laughter. So much light. You haven't lost the ability to connect, you've just been waiting for the right space to open again. And guess what? You can create that space. One smile, one gesture, one hello at a time. Even technology, something many of us once resisted, can be a bridge. There are groups online where people your age share hobbies, recipes, photos, prayers. Some people have found pen pals, prayer circles, even virtual book clubs. Don't be afraid to explore. You might be surprised by who's out there, waiting for someone like you. And if you ever feel unsure, or like it's just too late, I want you to remember this: friendship isn't something we age out of. It's something we grow into. The older we get, the more we understand what truly matters. The more we recognize the value of a kind word, a patient ear, a warm presence. So if your heart's been longing for connection, trust it. Listen to it. Let it guide you gently back to the world of others. It won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Because you, yes, you, are still someone worth knowing. Someone worth laughing with, walking with, listening to. Someone with stories, wisdom, and light that others need. Let's not let the world tell us otherwise. Let's not believe the lie that friendship has an expiration date. It doesn't. It never has. And it never will. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Share a story, a memory, or even just a hello. You never know who you might inspire. And if you found comfort here today, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Elderly Wisdom 1969 for more heartfelt conversations, just like this. Here's to new beginnings, old souls, and the friendships that are still waiting to bloom. Because it's never too late. And neither are you.